4. The author would be most likely to agree with which one of the following statements? This one's harder to predict, but the author did think the strict people were wrong. A. Natural selection is responsible for almost none of the characteristics of existing species. What makes this wrong? Too strong, right? It goes too far. And because this is an agree question, the correct answer is likely to be weakly worded. We were talking about this earlier with strengthen and weaken questions, but weak answers are things like some or may or might or can, right? This is going too far. B, the fact that a species flourishes in a certain environment is not proof of its adaptation to that environment. Is this strongly worded or weakly worded? What makes it weak?
It's not proof.
It's not proof.
Yeah.
So the author's totally open to the possibility that it's evidence, but it's just not proof, right? Well, that's true for almost anything. And why is this not proof? Because the small species didn't adapt, they just got lucky and survived. Right? That's probably what this is referring to. So I would keep this open. C, only environmental changes that provide some advantage to a species are transmitted to subsequent generations. This would go against what the author is arguing, right? The whole point is that some things carry on even though they're not an advantage. So this is actually the strict people's view, not the author's view. D, so it's wrong. D, large animal species are generally unable to survive in harsh environmental conditions. What do you guys think? What makes this wrong? Generally. Generally means most of the time. We know about one time. The word most or the words that mean most are often the word or words that make wrong answers wrong in reading comp. Yeah.
But we do know that smaller animals are generally able to survive. We just don't know about larger animals.
I actually wait. I don't think we know that it's generally for even
Like
smaller.
From 45 to
What does it say? Where is it?
943.
43. Smaller animal species are generally better able to survive the catastrophic changes in climate that we would expect to follow from such an impact. Large animal species are generally unable to survive. Okay, so that's actually really interesting. Cool. Smaller animal species are generally better able to survive. Does that mean that they're generally able to survive?
It's not better able.
So if you're generally better able to do so, right? Then that means your likelihood of survival is higher, but that likelihood could still be lower than most of the time. So I think that the generally in D is still going back to how often do they survive, and we know that that happened once, or in this case for the large animals, it didn't happen once. But what percentage of the time does it happen when these things happen? We don't know. It could be higher than 50% for large animals. They generally do survive, but they don't survive as often as smaller animal species, which are at like 80% of the time. So, okay. Either way, wrong. E, natural selection is useful for explaining the form but not the behavior of most animals, of most species. I don't know what the author actually thinks about that. That was really something that the strict constructionists were talking about. So I would go back to B. Are we okay with that? Okay.